Hello and welcome back to Pseudo Gameplay TV for another character analysis. Today we have the favorite Iron Avenger, Iron Man. Unequivocally, in some cases, the leader of the Avengers. Now, Iron Man, or the rendition that is most popular, though there are certain variants on the design or aspect of the character, this is the Tony Stark version of Iron Man. Now, Iron Man has, I'm fairly certain that you're very familiar with Iron Man from the content that he's had in the MCU and his longtime presence in the comics. But just as a brief statement of who he is and a character introduction, Iron Man possesses a genius-level intellect, as well as being a proficient scientist and engineer, and has a multitude of powered armor suits. However, in this particular rendition, he only has the one suit that he uses and utilizes, but that suit does grant him a couple of extra abilities that most humans would not possess, such as having a superhuman strength and durability. Again, this is specifically for when he has this armored suit on, as well as the attaining of supersonic flight, energy repulsor and missile projection, as well as having a regenerative life support in that arc reactor that he has in his chest. Now, Iron Man has a pretty standard kit of attacks that you would expect to see from a character like this. The first of which being his Unibeam, where Iron Man will fire a beam in the direction the character is facing, specifically from the arc reactor in his chest. This can be held to continue attacking. I mean, you could, in theory, just sit there and burn through your entire stamina bar. Do be advised that it's not the most efficient use of Iron Man's ability, but it gets the job done for some of the different attacks that you may need to do. The second attack that Iron Man has is the repulsor array, where Iron Man will attack the vicinity while spinning and shooting lasers. Very similar to what was seen in Iron Man 2 against the hammer drones. The third attack that Iron Man utilizes is the thruster charge, which sends the character rushing forward using his thrusters. And you can hold this to charge it before releasing or maxing out at the charge and then lunging forward. The fourth attack which Iron Man has is a missile barrage, where homing missiles will be spread in a formation, so they'll just go out and attack the different characters that are in a close enough vicinity. Now, the team that we have set up today is to maximize Iron Man's synergies. We have Captain America and Hulk, who permit a couple of different synergies amongst being team leaders, members of the Avengers, and Big Brain synergy. And then Colossus is along for the synergy that he has nicknamed Heavy Metal, which is kind of humorous. But let's go ahead and jump into our favorite Infinity Rift and showcase Iron Man in today's video. Alright, so here we are with Iron Man, and Iron Man does primarily attack with a series of up-close and personal punches, though his heavy attacks do actually have a level of knockdown to him, which includes some repulsor blasts. Now, Iron Man, like other characters, does have capability of flight. You do want to keep in mind that flying with any character, as well as web slinging, will actually drain out your the bar of your stamina points for special attacks. Now, Iron Man also can attack with his aerial as he comes down, and this is one that you can actually kind of mash and use repeatedly on his way down, and just kind of lay down some covering fire. It doesn't knock people down, but it can provide some good chip damage and be a pretty good option for clearing out some of the maybe lower health enemies that you're dealing with. Now, in terms of his attacks, we do have the Unibeam, where he will just kind of shoot the beam out in the direction. It is omnidirectional, so you can influence it, and as long as you've got points to spend, he'll just continue to fire the Unibeam. Not the greatest damage dealer, but it can work to take down some of the lower health enemies where needed. Now the repulsor ray is a little bit more useful, as he will spin around in a circle and influence a little bit more of a wider area of characters all at the same time. And it's pretty quick, so you can feel free to toggle in and out of that at your leisure. Now, in terms of the thruster charge, this is one that you do want to ideally, actually that's the missile barrage, which will come back in just a moment, but the thruster charge can be held, and then he will rocket forward and knock down any opponent that he comes in contact with while on that trajectory. Now, what we showcased a moment ago in the missile barrage, this will send out missiles that home onto different targets in the vicinity, and you can kind of see that indicated by a few of those targeting circles that crop up. Now, in terms of Iron Man's ultimate attack, you do want to keep in mind that it is very focused mainly in one area,
Systems to full power.
as he summons 2 separate drones and does a bunch of different laser attacks. And it's not immediately or directly immediately in front of him, though it is out in front of him a few feet. So do keep that in mind as you seek to use Iron Man's main ability here. But I find myself mostly using the repulsor array, as it comes out fairly quickly, has some degree of knockdown against the lower characters, and is just all around a pretty good option. Of course, the missile barrage will also serve quite well in terms of getting some of the more tricky or spread out characters affected all at the same time.
Missiles deployed.
And I don't typically use the thruster charge, mainly because it does leave you vulnerable while charging. In fact, the majority of what I use is the repulsor array or the missile barrage, just because there's a lot of simplicity yet effectiveness that can be used with both of those. And then you do note
Systems to full power.
that with Iron Man's main attack, there is an area of effect out in front that it does focus on and help have some impact for. But it's not immediately in front of him like it is with some other characters. So Iron Man's a lot of fun to use. He can be a little difficult to time on some of his attacks, but more than anything else, he's pretty straightforward and a ton of fun. So do keep that in mind as you're looking to build your own team. We'll be back in a few days with more content for Marvel's Ultimate Alliance 3 as we jump back into our Let's Play series. But until then, thanks for tuning in. I hope you'd enjoyed this series, and please feel free to subscribe if you're enjoying the content so far. Until then, take care, and we'll catch you in the next one.